Hi, Joshua. Thanks for opting into the feedback here. I was surprised when I first pulled up your ad because of the orientation. So I looked at the presentation slide design, and I think you have the slide dimensions in there backwards. So it's supposed to be 10 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall, kind of a landscape type orientation as opposed to a portrait orientation. So change that around if you could, just because it will then have the same orientation as like a computer monitor or television screen, which is the ideal when you're doing some type of presentation, because that is the media that you would be using to display it. Okay, so instead of having tall, narrow slides, they'll be long and thin. All right. Um, well, they'll be long, they'll be more wide than they are tall. Okay, so that'll change things a little bit. Um, but I like the ad that you selected. That's a really nice ad. Um, you have a contrasting typeface that's here that's different from the one that appears on the ad, so that's good as well. Remember the rule to never place a black stroke on any design element. It's instantly going to date any design element. It's going to make it feel like it's a 1980s newsletter as opposed to a modern, clean, contemporary design. Also, if you have such a large amount of space, the safer bet than trapping your eye here with this line is to just extend the red off the edge of the page and use a full bleed. Okay? That's instantly going to make your design look more contemporary as well. Just a whole red page with some nice, simple yellow writing on it. Okay. I would make sure to have a bit more buffer between where your letter ends and where a shape element ends. That's going to give your eye room to go all the way around the word, which is the goal for placing any kind of words on a shape. I may encourage you to add some more contrast to these text boxes as well. It's not that different from your body copy on the page. And so you really want to employ that rule of contrast. You want to show that you understand how contrast can be used. Maybe you find a typeface that's like this sans serif, and that's what you use for your title bar here, or vice versa. Maybe your body copy is in this type of sans serif or something, just so you're showing me you understand how to have dynamic types on the page and have them contrast with each other. Okay. Um, if it feels like this is getting too McDonald'sy with the yellow and the red, you may introduce some gray. Perhaps you could have maybe some of your words appear in gray, or the background box or something along those lines, or even a gray background. Just play around with that. Down here, we want to avoid any kind of bullets. This really isn't a PowerPoint presentation. As opposed, I want you to think of this as a draw over that you are designing. Okay, so instead of having these bullets down here, you would have lines of shape around the crackers are the same color. So you would have a really cool draw over come up and point to this element that you're talking about. Now, when you change the orientation, your ad might be on the right hand side of the page, or maybe it's in the middle and you have the draw over coming off, and that would allow you to have writing on the left and the right of it. I would also encourage you to go a lot smaller with your type size. Think about the fact that you don't necessarily need to be yelling this from the back of the room, as opposed to it's just going to be something interesting that if I really want to read and I'm intrigued, I'm going to read it. So I would say at least half this point size for your body copy. Okay. That looks fine. Once you'll make some of the same changes that I mentioned on the other slides. Okay. And then let's see your new ad. Fun. I like your new ad. I'd get rid of that black stroke on this too. But I really like your new ad. That looks really good. Very creative and cute. Awesome. Yep, your new ad is really good. So really it's just cleaning up your slide presentation. Be sure to take off these hyphens. The biggest advice I can give you is to not think of this as a slide presentation, but to think of it as a design, maybe like a multi-spread magazine or something that will help you remember those design principles you need to employ. Contrast, alignment, having things not be aggressive when it comes to where your eye goes. You need to have a hierarchy of the page, something that initially draws your attention, and then things that really fade to the background that you look at if you're especially interested. Okay, so you're heading on the right track. Hopefully those things will help take it to the next level for you. Thanks, Joshua.